All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Halo is quietly having a resurgence right now. Lots is going on in the Halo universe, and this is leading up to next year's big celebration for Xbox. Halo will be involved with that. We have more information on Black Ops 7, where it's releasing, or I guess where it's not releasing, and the release date. More games are added to stream your own games on Xbox, which is always a great thing. They are really expanding this service out. A very interesting Nintendo patent has been updated, and I'm excited about this because I love where this could potentially be going. And Shawn Layden talks game prices and where the pricing of games should be. You kind of can get an understanding as to where some of these executives would want us to be paying for the likes of games. So before we jump into it, if you enjoy daily news, daily gaming content every single day, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, like all that stuff. But for now, let's get into it. So coming up to 2026 is the 25th anniversary. We know Xbox is going to have a massive year. They told us this at the end of the Xbox showcase this year with some of their biggest titles releasing: new Forza, new Gears, new Halo, even though he didn't say Halo, but that's what he was pointing towards pretty much. There's going to be Fable. Like, it is going to be an extremely strong year to coming off of a 2025, which has been also extremely strong. And 2024 was good too. So it's been a great few years here for Xbox. And I think next year is going to be at the pinnacle of where we are seeing Xbox IPs that we all know and love all coming out at the same time. But as of right now, Halo is kind of having a resurgence. It's being put into many different crossovers. More people are talking about it. And I think it's because they're starting to try to increase that mind share for Halo as we get closer to next year's release announcement of whatever Halo game that they are putting out. I think it's going to be the Halo CE remaster. Also hearing rumors about potentially some new multiplayer stuff here from Halo. But there is this list here that's put out by Mint Blitz. And he says, if you haven't been keeping up with the Halo news lately, wow, there's been a Fortnite Halo crossover, which is happening right now. It says here, Helldivers 2 and Halo crossover later this month. Now, Helldivers 2 is releasing on Xbox later this month. Don't know if they've officially announced what the crossover is going to be, but based off of the trailer they recently put out, you can assume it's going to be something with ODST in there, and there is going to be a crossover happening. I mean, to put the music in the game from the ODST, they've already discussed licensing and all that, so I'm sure something is happening here between Helldivers 2 and Halo. The ex-creative director Joe Staten knew of the crossover ahead of time, I guess, talking about the Helldivers 2. New Halo game being announced at the Worlds in late October. This is where people are speculating. I believe there will be a multiplayer announcement here. I wonder what that's going to be, if that's going to be specifically something with Halo Infinite or a brand new multiplayer game. As of right now, Halo Infinite is still very, very good, but they are probably thinking, how can they improve the amount of people that want to play it? Because the player counts hasn't really increased that much, but the game is phenomenal, plays well, the content is coming. So it's going to be sad, at least in my opinion, to see Halo Infinite kind of just go to the wayside as we move on to the next generation with Unreal Engine 5. I hope they can replicate just how good that game does feel in Unreal Engine 5. They say Halo will be on PlayStation with Grunt API and multiple new Halo projects in the works, including future updates to Halo Infinite. Things are ramping up to something. I bet my channel on it. So that's what he is thinking. And I agree. This is definitely ramping up to something big, a massive announcement, maybe the next mainline Halo, something to do with the 25th anniversary. There will be lots of Halo stuff. And I think for the next mainline game, they'll probably not going to wait until the next gen console and actually release it on that. Probably going to hope to actually hit the goal that they had with the Xbox Series X and S, which was releasing it when the console did release. As we know, they had to delay it, but they still launched the Series X with the Halo picture on the back. But I'm thinking for the next gen, especially when Microsoft and Xbox put out their own first-party console, they're going to want to have a showcase game, and that showcase game could be Halo. So it'll depend when the consoles do release. We're hearing multiple rumors on that as well, from OEM consoles releasing in 2026 to Xbox releasing their own first-party one in 27. So we'll see what happens, but there's a lot of Halo. We're going to get some more Halo next year. At least one game, and potentially some more multiplayer that we will see at the tournament this year when they get that announcement in October. So if you're a Halo fan, which I'm a massive Halo fan, one of my top franchises, I hope they do it right. They can absolutely have a Battlefield 6 type of resurgence for this franchise, because Master Chief is one of the most known characters in video games. So anyone out there who thinks that this franchise will just be dead or quietly go away. All they have to do is have the same type of thing that's happened with Battlefield 6, give the players what they want, have good beta that people really do love, and you're going to see numbers similar to Battlefield 6, at least in my opinion here, when the next Halo does come out, if they can really get the marketing and the game correct. So we'll see what happens, but as of right now, Halo is doing great. And if you're jumping into Halo Infinite right now, there is some fun playlists in there. I've been jumping in and playing the game. It's still a great multiplayer game, as I always mention, because there are people who haven't jumped into it for a while who still think there's no content or it's not a good multiplayer game, which is not correct. It is phenomenal. Black Ops 7 is coming. I'm pretty excited to see where they go with this one. I like the campaigns a lot now in Call of Duty. I do play through those first, where generally back in the day, I didn't even really touch the campaigns, or I would get to them way after I had put in tons of time with multiplayer. But recently I've been going into the campaigns first, and we've heard rumors about that big multiplayer mission for the last mission of the game. Still lots of questions as to whether that is true and how they would handle that. Is that going to be forced, or are you still going to be able to play it just by yourself if you want to finish the campaign without waiting for people? All of that I'm sure will be answered in the near future. But Black Ops 7, we have more info on it, and it has to do with where it will be available, when it will be available. And one of the, I think, but maybe surprising things here, although I do think at some point this game may come to the Nintendo Switch 2, is that it will not be available on the Nintendo Switch 2. And why I think that is surprising is because of the whole ABK deal that they had in the 10-year deal that Microsoft and Xbox made with Nintendo to bring these games to the platform. You'd think it would start with Black Ops 7 and the Nintendo Switch 2. If it's not coming this year at any point, it will, I would say, almost assuredly be coming next year. Will be the first time that we get a Call of Duty game on a Nintendo platform from a very long time. I think the last one was Ghosts back on the Wii U, if I remember correctly. It'll more than likely be next year if Black Ops 7 doesn't eventually make its way onto the Nintendo Switch 2 this year. But this is from Deal Labs and Bill Bilkun, who's always like 100% right on the information that he puts out in terms of leaks. And it says here, ignored for Black Ops 6 and with Black Ops 7 arriving this year, the Switch version remains in the shadows. Surprise to come, we tell you all about the launch with confirmed release date and available physical edition. So everything you really need to know about this game has been put out in terms of what you're going to be able to purchase and where it is going to be releasing. We're releasing on all of the same platforms it always has released. It is going to be missing the Nintendo Switch 2. It will be releasing on November 14th, 2025, so about a month after Battlefield 6. We will see how that has an effect on player numbers. After people have played Battlefield 6 for a month, will the hype train start for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and everybody will move over to that? I feel like releasing second when there is this competition generally gives you a pretty good outcome. Then in terms of the available editions, physical editions and prices, there will be Black Ops 7, which will have a physical release with a disc included on Xbox Series and the Xbox One and the PS4 and the PS5, and will be at $80 or 80 euros. So whatever that translates over to USD and other currencies. And pre-orders, including physical editions, will open on August 20th, which would be right after the Gamescom opening night live, which is on August 19th, where we already know we are going to be seeing more Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'm sure we'll have lots of the questions that we currently have for the game answered there, questions that have come up from some of the leaks that have come out, and specifically like the single player, multiplayer integration for the campaign. But I'm excited to see where they go with this game. We've also heard rumors of them taking away things like tax break, which a lot of people will be happy about. So we'll see what changes they do make. Stream your own games. Xbox continues to expand this out. This is going to be that thing where if the game isn't natively available on an Xbox device, this will bridge the gap to it. You can see Xbox really ramping up, trying to get as many titles as possible. Lots of newer titles are landing on this service. I use it relatively frequently if I am playing Assassin's Creed Shadows on a handheld. I'm streaming it via the Stream Your Own Game because it is a part of this service. So I do like that. And there's many other games I own that are in that service. Well, they've added 90 more games to it to continue to make the Stream Your Own Games on Xbox and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate better. I'm not going to go over all of the games because, of course, there's 90 plus games. So I'm not going to read through them all. But one of the big ones that did just launch is Mafia: The Old Country. This is added here to the Stream Your Own Game. So we are seeing big titles launching day one into this service. And launching into this service, they know that people are going to be able to play it on multiple devices. They won't have to go out and purchase the game twice. even if it doesn't have the Play Anywhere feature. They buy it on an Xbox console, they can play it on anything that has internet access. So companies are taking to this, and they're okay with putting their titles into the service. I wonder if they get a cut or a deal to put this in there, but Mafiaville Country is in there now as a big title. All right, the Nintendo Switch 2. I haven't played a lot of my Nintendo Switch 2 since I've gotten it. There is a pattern that has been going around that has now been updated, and I think this is one of the coolest patterns, and I hope it does come to fruition just simply because of the games and platforms that it would support. A lot of the DS and 3DS could be supported on this, as those are some of my favorite handhelds. I was a big 3DS and DS guy, and just a Nintendo handheld guy in general, from the Game Boy Color. But this is super cool. I hope this isn't something that they're just doing and they never put out. It has to do with a dual screen, the detachable screen for the Nintendo Switch 2. You have Mike Odyssey here saying that, yes, I knew it. New updated pattern, Nintendo Switch 2 second screen. Check out the updated images. And if we go to the actual images itself, you can see what they are getting at here. It is basically going to be looking like a massive Nintendo DS. You'll see the second screen at the bottom here with, it looks like a joystick on there. So this would be without Joy-Cons on it, I would assume. And then it has a clamshell design with the shoulder buttons and everything. And you would just attach it to the screen. Shows the mechanism of how it would open and close and fold and everything. So this could be something in the works for the future of the Nintendo Switch 2. And I would assume they would be doing stuff like this for two reasons. Maybe there are going to be Switch 2 games that would utilize this. I would feel like it would have to have some sort of native Switch 2 games for them to think it would be worth it to create this peripheral. But the other thing would be, if they're bringing Nintendo DS or Nintendo 3DS to Nintendo Switch Online, you kind of need that dual screen to have the full good experience. So maybe they're preparing for that, where they will be announcing this year. They've made peripherals like the GameCube, SNES, and NES controllers. Those are probably cheaper to make than this. And maybe that is kind of where they're leaning towards, is only the online. But I feel like there would be some other Switch 2 games that they would make to take part of, you could call this their latest gimmick that they're going to be adding here as an accessory for the Nintendo Switch 2. I think it's very cool, though, because I love those games. I love those platforms. But again, it's a patent. They always file patents. They don't always come out to the consumers. But I hope this one does come true. I think that would be super cool. And finally, game prices. As we know, we've been talking about game prices. We had the whole thing with Xbox raising the game prices after Nintendo had done it, and then backing away from that, specifically with the Outer Worlds 2 and any future games coming out this holiday season. They're gone back to the normal prices. Shawn Layden thinks the prices should be higher, and they should have increased every new generation. It kind of gives you insight as to where some of these big executives would have rather seen the industry go. More expensive for everybody, getting more money from every single consumer, rather than what we have right now, where we're actually getting more access. It's probably cheaper than ever to actually get into gaming right now via the subscription services and the amount of content you get in there. But in terms of the prices, they'll probably go up at some point. Shawn Layden thinks that they should have gone up sooner than where they have. Basically, every generation, he believes the prices should have gone up. He says, I think it's because everyone is afraid. No one wants to be the first one to raise the price because you're afraid to lose traffic. So what you do is just end up eating into your operating income, your profit margin. He says there were more sports cars in the parking lot in the PS1 era than there were in the PS4 era, because if you're selling 20 million units at $60 for something that only costs you 10 million to make, that's different than selling 20 million units at $60 for something that costs you $160 million to make, which that's obvious. And he says that games should have increased in price with every new generation, but instead the industry's mantra has been, as long as we grow, even though we're not making money, somehow we can't die. He says the cost of construction is just way too high. If you're going to spend over 200 million to build a game, your margins are super tight. Unless you can expect to sell 25 million units, unless you're Rockstar, you should not expect to sell 25 million units. And I don't fully agree with this take. It seems like a very basic take from a talk executive in the industry, somebody who's working with Tencent right now, simply because you take a look at the gaming industry. Yes, price to develop games have gone up significantly, but we are also at a point where the amount of people playing games has exploded. Way more people have access to games. You don't have to go to a store to buy games. Everything is digital now, so it's way easier for people to get into any one of these ecosystems and purchase a game on day one. The other major thing here is that these companies are not relying solely on unit sales for making their money. A lot of them are relying on microtransactions, games as a service, all of these things where they're getting record profits because of it. So that is offsetting a lot of the different costs here for developing games at 100 plus $200 million. Now, is the industry perfect? No, I think one of the big things here is the development time. If they cut down on the development time, that will be big. Not having to spend 10 years or so, or the scopes of these games need to be probably reduced a little bit if they want to increase their margins. But I don't think that the price of the games is having a huge effect here on how much money these companies are making when they found multiple different avenues to continue to nickel and dime customers every single time they do release a game. But that's just my thoughts on it. I'm going to end the video here. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.